The real issue, and this, look, I'm going to say this, and I don't want you to be discouraged or to be scared, but I do want you to understand what I really believe is going on. When the president, right before he took office, Angela and I were doing a lot of consulting with them, trying to help them shape an agenda. And I kept saying my big fear was that the president and the team was going to be focused on the new poor. You know who the new poor are? They're all those folks who had jobs 2 years ago who don't have a job today. But I said there's a group of people in America who haven't worked. So let me tell you why this struck me so. George Caldew, my chief administrative officer, and I, whenever stuff happened, me, George, and Rasuli, we've been together since we were in our teens. And so whenever anything happens in Harlem, we go out there and we hit the streets. And Sean, who worked for me for years, know how it is uptown, right? Every now and then you got to get ready to get down. You never know what's going to happen with the people, right? So you save the people, but every now and then you got to be ready. So one of my staff, in a moment of lucid brilliance, decided they were going to put posters up in Harlem of someone who had sexually assaulted a child, right? Now, the person had done this and had served their time and was in the community and rightfully felt outraged. And the word George and I got was we have a group of guys in Harlem on 144th Street coming to shut down our program. And I said, what do you mean shut down? They said, they're shutting this thing down. They said, what you guys are doing is corrupt. You put this guy's picture out. I said, how many guys? It's like 12 guys out there. And these are like the real serious guys. So I said, George, you better go handle that. so George and Ron went up there. I said, look, y'all go up there, talk to the brothers. Right? I said, now, we're all from the street, so you talk to the brothers and make sure they understand we are not scared. We're not letting them close on our program, but we want to help them. So I said, so invite them back to the main office. So George came back, he said, okay, mission accomplished, the guy's coming here tomorrow. I said, great. So the brother comes in, and so we apologize, and we say whatever. And I'm like, look, man, we were wrong. We shouldn't have done that. You did your time. We understand that was bad. What is it that you want? And, I'm expecting this. The brother said, can I tell you something? He said, I just want a job. He said, I've never worked in my whole life. I said, wait a second, you never worked? He said, he said, they wouldn't even give me a summer youth employment job. I have never worked ever, and I just want a job so I can support my family. And the guy's like 27. I'm like, you've never had a job in your whole life. I never could get a job. He said, and they told me you might be able to help me get a job. I said, George, help that man get a job, right? Let's give him. Now, so I'm sitting there talking to the folks who are running the country, saying, I understand we got to worry about these people who are recently unemployed, but they're a group of folk in America who have been so forgotten about. They have been so messed over, and you all aren't thinking about that group at all. If you put all of those people to work who have lost their jobs, our community will be right where it was 2 years ago, all right? So I'm saying, who is thinking really about our children? Now, if you realize the jobs that are lost, those jobs are never coming back. See, that's what they won't tell anybody. Those jobs aren't coming back. The only jobs going to be around, we were at a meeting yesterday, had a technology guy tell me, he said, I got 50 jobs I can't find anyone to fill here in New York. He said, because they're all high-tech jobs and they don't have the education to fill them. He said, I'm going to have to get some folk from overseas to come in. Because the kids, and these aren't black kids. Now I'm saying, if they're not going to be jobs for white people, see, some of y'all following me now, right? Some of y'all see why I'm worried here, right? Because this is the deal. This is the deal. We see what's going on globally. And there's a group of folk who realize that the jobs that we were doing here, right, that were paying a decent salary, they will do it for 10% of what they paid Americans. And all our jobs are gone. Now, So we know it's going to be high-tech jobs. And I'm looking at these kids, and they are not prepared for this brave new world. And so what we have right now, with all of the money about to be drained out of our economy, you understand that we're going to think of this as the good old days, that this money is going to be drained so dramatically from our economy. It's going to leave our schools, all of our after-school programs, all the infrastructure, safety nets. And the question is, when everybody decides this thing is so bad you have to save your own, who's going to save black children? And that's why we're here. Somebody has to step up and say, we got to save our own. And there's no one else going to step in. Everybody else is going to be scrambling for their own. Right? Now, I'm going to just tell you this. This thing is so bad that folk are going to be trying to protect their own kids. Everybody's going to be worried about their own kids' future. It's not that they bad people. They're just thinking, geez, I don't know how my kid is going to make it. I don't know where my kid's going to get a job. It's not like I dislike you all, but I can't help you when I'm not sure of the future of my own children. And so when Marion called us back together and said, don't you think this is the worst crisis since slavery? I said, oh yeah, oh yeah. Angela said, oh yeah. This is it. And somebody has to send out the message that we can and we will save our own children. That there is nobody else going to do it. We're going to have to step up our game and be prepared to do something that I think we've been preparing to do. You know, the difference between now and 20 years ago is that there are a number of us who are deeply engaged in this work right now. And we didn't know one another before. We didn't have the models. We didn't have the strategies. We now have all of that. And in this crazy political climate, we also have something else. We have a power that we've never wielded before. And I just want to say, we have a power we've just never wielded before. And I think there are a lot of people right now thinking about how they're going to carve up this budget for themselves and protect their own. And I don't think we have a plan. And I think people are individually going for individual, but I think as a community, we have not said, this is what we demand. And so I think, you know, the good thing is that we're all here and it can be done. The bad thing is no one else is going to do it except us. And if it doesn't get done, it's going to be our fault. Because I'm telling you, this thing is coming down the pike right now. And no one is thinking about us. I just have to tell you, somewhere in the thoughts, there's like this group of folk who are not sort of, you know, the discouraged people who haven't worked. That's all our kids and all that stuff. That's built into the mix. No one's thinking about that anymore. That's not the group when everybody's talking about unemployment. That's not who they're talking about. They're talking about a different group of folk. This is a given. We're just a given that we're going to do poor. That's just how it's going to be, and our kids aren't going to make it. That's just a given. They're worried about these other kids and how we're going to get them in the game. And someone's got to stand up and say, no, that's not happening. These are our kids, and we're going to fight to make sure that these kids are in this game. So that's why I'm here. That's why I hope you're here. You know, this was more than talk. We ended up, from the last Crusade, really getting some things on the ground. But I think that was a precursor to the work that stands in front of us. So I'm not discouraged. I told you I was going to say some stuff, right? But every time I think we face tough times, right? I think about what people really had to go through. You know, we know where we're at. You know what Alex Haley gave us, right? He gave us Kunta Kinte, right? Some of y'all young, y'all know what I'm talking about, right? They tried to change that brother's name. They cut that brother's foot off. You know what I'm saying? That brother was serious. But I mean, there was struggle. There was real struggle throughout our whole history. There has been real struggle, and people have placed their lives on the line to get us here. We're going to ask you all to step up. Right? I don't know, I have to check with Man. I don't think Man's going to ask us to put our lives on the line yet, right? Not yet. But she's going to ask us to do some extraordinary things. But when you look at the level of leadership of our people, it has been at the highest level. Because most of those people were killed, no one ever knew who they were. Most of those people were beaten, don't know their names, never heard of those folk. Most of those folk who were hung, never heard of them. All the folks, anybody, during the civil rights struggle, those people, you know, the worst of stuff, if Dr. King was there, you read about it. All the other stuff, they just whooped you and locked you up, right? And then the question was, you're going to do it again. And you know what? We did it again. So we come from tough stuff. This is going to be one of those tough times, but we've been through this before, and we're counting on you all to save our kids. So more to come.